Hey guys, Taylor here with another web hosting service review, and today we're going to be talking about probably one of the most popular and well-known website hosting services available, and that's GoDaddy.com. Now, due to clever marketing and a large promotional budget, GoDaddy is probably a name that you've heard at some point in your life. But just because it's very popular and very well known doesn't mean it's the best web hosting service out there. So today we're going to be diving into GoDaddy. We're going to be talking about some of the benefits and features to see if it might be right for you in your particular situation. And as always, I will leave links to any web hosting services we discuss down in the description below, so you can check it out there, along with any deals or discounts that I might find. So if you're interested, definitely take a look down in the description. So kicking it off, GoDaddy has been around for a long time. And by a long time, I mean they have at least 20 years of experience offering web services. But in that time, a lot of options have popped up to be direct competition with GoDaddy. So does it still stand up today? Well, the short answer is not particularly. But we're going to jump into some of these features and go a little bit deeper into what GoDaddy offers. Now, in terms of the structure of the company, GoDaddy is primarily focused on domains. That means hosting is not really a priority in their grand scheme of things. And basically this amounts to their services as far as web hosting suffering a little bit, and in some cases a lot. The hosting is Apache based, and if you're familiar with this terminology, you know that it's an older version of web server tech. And most hosting services nowadays are actually moving away from that. If you're familiar with systems like WordPress and other content management systems, Apache really struggles to work well with those systems. Now, in terms of plans, there are 4 plans on offer here, all with unmetered bandwidth. The basic plan comes with 100 gigs of storage space, not SSD, which is the newer storage tech. So basically that means it won't be as fast, and the other 3 plans do have unlimited space. So in terms of features, the more advanced plans do support more databases, and the basic plan can only handle 1 domain while the others can handle unlimited domains. And basically, as you go up in the plans, you're going to get faster speeds, which equates to basically having more RAM and CPU power behind them. GoDaddy does use cPanel, and you'll have all of the regular tools at your disposal, which means things like WordPress and other CMS are easily installed. Now, with that said, a lot of the key features to web hosting services that are available in some of our best options are simply absent here. Things like there is no free SSL on the basic plan. SSL is definitely something you need on your website. Basically, that's going to encrypt all the data that goes between your site and your users, so it's going to protect you and your users. GoDaddy is one of the only web hosting services that we reviewed that still doesn't offer free SSL certificates. If you do want to get an SSL certificate, you're going to have to pay for it. They only give you access to the crazy expensive ones. Basically, this is a common theme with GoDaddy. Everything is going to be extra here. Backups are not available as part of GoDaddy's hosting plans. A lot of security features aren't available. If you want to use their website builder, you will have to purchase a completely separate builder plan. And then if you do that, you can't use WordPress. There are no core staging sites, no CDN integrations, no caching tools of any kind. And if you do get confused or mixed up in any way, there is no tech support. Now, with all that said, it might still be passable if, say, it was incredibly user-friendly. But it's not. It's simply not easy to use. From the very beginning, when you're trying to choose a plan, things get very complicated. It's not easily determined which plans offer which features, or more specifically, which features they do not offer. If you're attempting to connect an already existing domain, it's incredibly difficult, needlessly difficult. The main account area has almost no information in general, and most of the tabs are filled with services that are available for purchase. There's no easy setup here, and it's very, very frustrating, especially if you're unfamiliar with website building. And while struggling to connect to the domain, there's no support available to help you out at all. 3 weeks after using GoDaddy, they also decided on a whim that my account was fraudulent and required me to verify my info. This is not uncommon across some other web hosting services, but usually it's right away after signup and not after you've been using their platform for 3 weeks. This is both very confusing and very frustrating. And then they just canceled the account. So everything completed in 3 weeks, gone in an instant. So if this is you and you're scared about losing all of your work accumulated over close to a month, I would maybe look in a different direction than GoDaddy. Let's talk about performance. After setting up a website with things like WordPress and all the extra bells and whistles, I attempted to include some website optimization that might speed things up, but it really didn't help. The average page load time for GoDaddy was approximately 2.94 seconds. And the average global page load time was 4.16 seconds. Now, for reference, ideally you want your page to be loading in under 2 seconds. This means that GoDaddy was almost double. In terms of choosing a data center, you usually want to pick the one that's closest to you, but even this GoDaddy makes overly complicated by not including specific locations. The only options on offer here are North America, Europe, and Asia. So basically this means that it's going to be really hard to know exactly how far away from the data center you are and what you can expect in terms of performance. Now, after performing GTmetrix, the fastest complete page load time was 2.2 seconds, and that's well over the maximum of 2 seconds, never mind the average 2.94 or the whopping 5-second slowest loading time. What's really shocking is in a world of incredibly fast loading times, GoDaddy has said that 2.2 seconds is the fastest speed the service is capable of, and that's just inexcusable in today's environment. In terms of uptime, it was not terrible at 99.974% over 4 months. But throughout that time, there were constant drops of around 3 to 4 minutes each time every week or two. And that can be frustrating, especially if you're doing something like running a business or trying to promote e-commerce on your website. Now, if your uptime does drop below the 99.9%, you do get a reimbursement of 5% of your monthly fee, but that 5% can only be used to purchase additional services from GoDaddy. So what all this means is users will not only experience slow load times on your website, but also they may not be able to access it at all if the website is down. Now, as I mentioned, the support here is terrible and relatively non-existent. Supposedly, they do have a live chat service that's manned by experts available 24/7. The reality of it here is it's rarely available within a reasonable time and sometimes not at all. And every time that I actually did connect with an agent, they were unbelievably unhelpful. There's also phone support, but the phone support was just as awful, if not worse. Not only do the experts struggle with English, but they don't understand how web hosting works at all. You'll run into things like agents running you in circles, disconnecting, or they will just stop answering your questions altogether. And if you do disconnect, you're back into the queue again and waiting for someone to pick up the line. Even during the initial sign-up process, when trying to discuss with an agent the difference between the plans, the agent had no idea what the difference between them was. At first she claimed that plans included SSL certificates, and then said that only the higher tier plans do. She didn't know which plan supported WordPress, or why I should choose one plan or the other. And this took about an hour of wasted time to figure out. Basically any issue that I presented to the agents, whether it was trying to install WordPress or connecting my domain, they were not only unhelpful, but they just ran me in circles and made things way more confusing than they needed to be. They clearly didn't know the answers and had no interest in actually helping me. Now you might be wondering, well, if the service is that terrible, maybe it's extremely low budget and that's why. Well, you'd be wrong again. GoDaddy's prices are expensive by any standard of web hosting services, especially when you consider they don't provide basic services like SSL certificates. The payment terms available here are 3, 12, 24, or 36 months, and you can only pay through credit card. Even the 3-year plan, which is generally way cheaper than the rest, is still pretty expensive, especially when compared to other competitors like Hostinger. And then don't forget that you'll also have to buy any single minor add-on that you want, and that's going to add up very quickly. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee on long-term plans, but if you sign up for a term that's shorter than a year, you only get 48 hours to change your mind. Also, another frustrating thing, there are services like Free Office 365 Mail, but they're only free for the first year and they actually renew automatically. So if you don't untick these boxes, they will cost you hundreds of dollars after a year. Oh, and GoDaddy doesn't warn you about any of this. A free domain is included with the 1-year plan, but it will renew at a higher price the next year. The prices are just absurd, and if you don't watch it constantly, you could end up charging way more than you planned to your credit card. So if you haven't guessed it already, the bottom line here is GoDaddy is a very frustrating, confusing, and slow web hosting service. Not to mention, it's incredibly expensive when compared to its competitors. If you are interested in getting into website building, there are some way better options out there that come in with more features and lower price points. For instance, we encourage you to check out Hostinger and Bluehost. Both of these platforms are way stronger and provide way more features for what you're paying. Honestly, if you are even considering GoDaddy, I would at least first check these out, give them a try, have something to compare it to after. GoDaddy is truly not the best option for anything, whether you're interested in building an online store, or if you're building a blog, or you want to promote your restaurant. It doesn't matter. There's so many better options out there, and again, definitely check out Hostinger or Bluehost. I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be way happier with the features that both of those services provide. It's going to be way easier to use and way less of a headache. Anyway guys, hope you found this review helpful. If so, please leave a thumbs up, as I always appreciate that. Also, if you do have any questions or comments, please let me know. I love getting to answer as many of those as possible. And like I said, I will leave links to GoDaddy, Hostinger, and Bluehost down in the description below, so you can check out those platforms there to see which one might be right for you. Also, if I do find any deals or discounts available, I'll put those down in the description as well for you guys. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video.